And President Kennedy often doesn't get much credit as a legislative strategist, and certainly his own legislative record, both in the House and the Senate, was undistinguished. But I think in October 1963, he really showed his mettle, and he did a dogged, highly personal lobbying campaign in which he put his prestige on the line, had members come to the White House repeatedly and worked them over. And he succeeded in getting the bill out of the Judiciary Committee in a form that would have a reasonable chance of succeeding down the line. And that's really the last political act of his life before the assassination. It was really kind of the last accomplishment he'd made.
What would have happened if President Kennedy had not been assassinated in November 1963?
I would say that's the single most frequently asked question I've confronted since the book is written. And historians disagree on this. I believe Robert Caro has said that he's not sure we'd have the bill to this day. I think President Kennedy had by that point committed so much political capital to it. And remember, he was famously competitive. He liked to win. I don't think he could have backed away from it. He might have compromised more than President Johnson ultimately did. It might have taken longer. It might have gone on past the '64 election. But I have to believe he would have seen that through to passage because he just had too much committed to it, and it would have been a devastating humiliation for him to walk away from it. And I don't think he was, he'd already had one devastating humiliation in the Bay of Pigs, and I don't think he was in the mood for another. So I think he would have. But I think many people who worked in his administration think that's true. And I think even some people who worked for President Johnson who had no reason to, I think there's substantial evidence that he would have tried very hard to get it done.